I like to be able to make sure that whatever I'm doing in life, I'm very altruistic and have this idea of, being a seed planter. And I love to plant seeds so that people can, grow trees and vineyards from those seeds. So I'm pretty much, I'd say, a pioneer, and I always described as the Deborah at heart, very much going to go, rah, go and get the sword and go running towards the fire and, protect the innocent. But, we're all designed for a reason, and we go through different seasons in life, and I've just learned to go with the flow with the Lord. And I will admit, I am a recovered perfectionist. I gave up my membership to Control Freaks Anonymous, and for someone who likes to be in control, that was quite difficult. It was a bit of a fight between me and God. But eventually, once I gave him permission to take control of my life, I've been sitting in the back seat with my head out the window, just enjoying the ride. So, we go through seasons in life and we kind of pick up tools. I always think of it as going on a journey, right? And you pick up passengers, and sometimes you gotta let them out, and sometimes you get some junk on the trunk, which we've got to get rid of. Other times I feel like there are certain seasons where we can't figure out what we're doing with ourselves. But then in the future, we look back, we go, oh, that's why I did that. And what I'm finding is quite amusing, is having fun with God lately, is he's bringing back these old desires and things that I enjoyed doing when I was younger. He's kind of saying, oh, that thing you did, like that idea you had, how about we go back and play a little here? We left South Africa in 2000 and moved to England, 5 years. And then in 2006, we moved again. So we immigrated twice in the time of like 5.5 years. And when we moved the second time, well, the first time I was pregnant with my middle child, and then, moving to America, it's all well moving house, but moving country and culture and the whole thing, and businesses, we had to start our businesses all over again. So there was just a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, and I'd never given myself time to breathe. I always say I'm always in combat mode. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready just to do, and I have a very high pain threshold, so I'll just keep going until I'll be like, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, wow, maybe I should eat, and just kept going until I physically burnt out and realized I'd come to the end of my rope. I literally couldn't get out of bed. I was so emotional. I've never experienced grief like that. When you feel like your body aches and you're physically hearing all sort of the ugly snot cry, like, ugh, nobody wants to see that. And I sat and, I didn't have the motivation to get out of my pajamas for 3 months. Felt very sorry for myself, having a major pity party. And through that process, though, God's like, okay, it's time to do the deep work. Are you ready to be still? Because being still and resting is like, what? No. So it was really hard, but he literally, I slammed into a stainless steel wall. The car was broke. The wheels fell off. The head gasket blew. We weren't not going anywhere. So I'd realized, God had been showing me signs along the way, and I always equate this to riding on the highway, right? You have the road signs and it's got the speed limit, like, hey, slow down. There's an exit coming. You need to go fill up with gas. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep going until eventually you can't. And what I'd realized that is not advisable to wait to get to that point. So I had realized through that process and going back and doing the deep work, and even things that were from my past, from when I was a kid, there were lots of trauma and wounds and things. So, God in his graciousness took me through an inner healing journey. And I'm a journaler. I love to write things down and document. And through that process, I realized I was writing, and as the Holy Spirit was teaching me through things. And eventually God says, okay, I want you to write a book now. And I'm like, hey, what? Excuse me? What? I don't want anybody to know all this junk in my trunk nonsense. Are you serious? So I fought him long and hard. We know how well that goes. And eventually I released that book in 2018, and it's called Warrior to Warrior, A Mother's Journey from Fear to Faith. It's, deep spiritual warfare and testimony and all that jazz. And that really got me in the trajectory of, books and coaching and mentoring and teaching is so important, because I know that how it affected me and it helped me. And I really felt that I wanted to have other people who were in that situation, because I know what it was like to be in that situation when you're dealing with shame and blame, pressure and anxiety. You don't want to tell people, everyone thinks your life is perfect. They look at your social media highlight reel and oh my gosh, she's so lucky, she's got it all together. And I'm like, yeah, as if. And then they realize you're a human being trying to be a human doing, and it doesn't work out very well. So through this whole process, I've had to realize that God is in ultimate control, and he will let me wear myself out until I give him control and in order to get my life back. So through that process, I spent the last sort of 5 years learning and reschooling. I went back and got certified as a coach, and then I've learned a lot about neuroscience. I've done a lot of in-depth study, behavioral science, because I love to figure out, complex information and make it into something and teach others. So really, I went through the fire. I had to walk through that season, and now I feel it's my duty and responsibility and privilege to turn around and help others who have also been in that situation. So that's really a roundabout way of of what it brought me here today. And what I'm finding is that God doesn't waste anything. All the things that I thought, even the painful pieces that I thought I'd have to die and let go and, would never come back. God is a very creative God, and he seems to know how to all the pieces fit together, even though for me it looks like a hot mess. But he's very nicely been able to use the things he needed to use. But biggest thing, and I think you alluded to this earlier, is the biggest thing is surrender. And this is hard, especially when you are that kind of personality like I am, when you're a control freak and a perfectionist and you want everything organized and have it ordered. I have friends and even like family members who are what I call that childlike, la 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 la, we're just gonna go romping in the field and pick daisies and okay, God, whatever we're going to do. And I'm like, that would be nice. Back home, I've got some work to do. So, and I just think, about being able to share the journey of just letting the Lord take control is so much more fun now. That it's amazing now how instead of me holding so tight to, well, we have covered a lot of information today, and, I hope that's been useful for your audience. I would love to share the resource I have available. That if you want more information about what I do, I talk a lot about, neuroscience and faith and all this fun stuff. I have my own YouTube channel, Mamika Cooney, and my latest book, the title is Shift Your Mindset, Develop Grit, and Break Barriers. And it's a great intersection of where faith and mindset and neuroscience come together. And I've done a lot of research in how the brain actually works. And really, it's talking about renewing your mind. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe. Hit the little bell button so you'll be the first to know when we release a new episode.